community, you said that there was kind of a, I guess, a reactionary, a reactionary undercurrent that's going on there. Tell me more about that.
More, I guess it would be a reactionary undercurrent now, but I mean, as its origins, it was always kind of inherently. I mean, I'm a fucking early child of the internet. I grew up, I think I got my first PC back in like 1996, 97. I don't remember exactly. My friend's dad worked for like a IT thing, and I ended up getting one of his like IBM computers. It's like a hand-me-down.
Wow.
Yeah, and for the time, it was like not a bad computer. So I was online like back like the early days of dial. Like I remember when like what was it, 28 kilobytes per second. That was fast internet.
Wow.
Yeah. Old school dial-up modems and all that.
I can hear it right now.
Yeah. So you can think of how like those things were fucking expensive then, and so early online gaming communities were just by material barriers mostly occupied by economically comfortable middle class, mostly white, mostly men.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I didn't have a computer. We didn't get our first computer in our home until 2000, I think 2001. And even then it was rented.
Damn. See, like the idea of renting a computer has never entered my mind. By 2001, I think I had built my own computer for the first time.
Yeah, we were going to like Aaron's or Rent-A-Center and just like getting a computer from there. And then we didn't have regular internet. We got the discs from like America Online
AOL,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, AOL.
And then we would do the dial-up internet through the discs and have that. But yeah, we were lower middle class or lower class, so we just couldn't afford it. Like a laptop was a huge luxury for us to ever have. Like I wouldn't, if you told me like 20 years later I would have a laptop like this, like no, I wouldn't be able to think about it. But
when I first got a computer, laptops were like a pipe dream. That was like fantasy.
Yeah.
So like I was in those online spaces from a pretty early age, and there was, and at first it was very like juvenile, kind of like there's joking about there's no girls on the internet. This is like the boys only club, or like no one would believe, and there were girls on the internet, of course, but nobody, there was this disbelief if someone claimed it's like, you're not really, you're pretending or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that was where the early online, especially online gaming stuff kind of took hold. Was already, disproportionately of like white male demographic, and that held true. I think it's more or less getting more balanced nowadays, but even up until like the 2010s, like even up to like 2014, I think. I mean, it was still like a common assumption, and that leads into what I was talking about, or what I wanted to talk about World of Warcraft. So I was playing that for 6 years probably, and I remember at the time like a very like overt strain of what I mostly thought of as like edgy humor, ironic racism, ironic misogyny, sex, and what have you. Other people recognized that as an opportunity. One of those people, who I came to know after the fact, was Steve Bannon.
What?
So you haven't heard about Steve Bannon, before he came to prominence in U.S. politics, ran a gold farming company in World of Warcraft.
Steve Bannon?
Steve motherfucking Bannon. Yep. So
Crusty Steve.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Fucking zombie decaying looking motherfucker.
Okay.
Seriously, it looks like a
this is gonna be
decomposing
good.
corpse. So he actually ran a like gold farming selling operation where he would like pay people overseas in like China or wherever to farm gold, and using bots and all this stuff. It wasn't just them like actually going out and playing the game and grinding gold. It was just he ran a gold farming operation where they would sell gold to WoW players. And because of that connection, he recognized that, hey, like all these people who are like really into like MMOs and online games in general, mostly like lonely, disaffected, and like generally well off, you know, economically comfortable white kids, and that they were a ripe target for right-wing radicalization. And this was like even before Gamergate. Like you heard of Gamergate?
Can you remind our audience a little bit of
Gamergate? So that was the like where a bunch of online gamer chuds went after a female game developer because she had a relationship with a person that did game journalism, and it was all under the guise of like ethics in game journalism, but it was really just a cover to harass this woman and other female creators and just anybody that like the specific demographic that was being cultivated in that environment to like go after people who they thought like didn't belong, or it was like to keep politics out of my video games. Is like that's where it really kind of started. And you see that a lot now. Like every time there is like any like representation of any, you know, not typically you're every time there's a female protagonist, like these what was the recent one, the Last of Us 2, people were freaking out because there was like a masculine woman, and same with Horizon Zero Dawn. So a lot of that has roots back in that the early like attempts at radicalizing these people through online gaming. And I, playing these games, kind of recognize, like I was raised, you know, pretty well with regard to these things. Like my parents had gay friends, and like my, you know, I grew up in a pretty like diverse community, especially like since I lived in, you know, California on the West Coast, a pretty like radical culture around where I grew up. And so like this wasn't really much new to me. And when I saw how people that I interacted with online reacted to this stuff, that kind of gave me pause. But again, being someone who was never really affected by it, I just kind of passed it off as, again, you know, edgy humor or whatnot. But looking back on it, I realized that, yeah, there was a very clear, like, concerted effort to push that sort of, like, I mean, like, Holocaust jokes should never have been a thing, but they were popular amongst a certain demographic of gamers. Yeah. So it's like, it's really hard in hindsight to think about like what was organic and what was being pushed upon these people with a specific agenda.
Yeah.
And then learning that Steve Bannon actually used his connections to like the WoW community to push like the online neo-Nazi shit. and it can coincides because this happened in 2014. 2015, I think, was when the big like Gamergate controversy occurred, and then you have that followed by the rise of like Donald Trump and 4chan kind of bleeding into the mainstream of internet politics. Like that was the thing. It's like a lot of this stuff was already there. It was just this like insular part of the internet. And instead of when smartphones, when the internet became brought to the masses, instead of that drowning out, diluting that little nugget of toxicity, it instead poisoned the wider internet community and kind of spread like a virus almost.
Yeah.
Like for what was it? Another book I read recently was Kathleen Bellew's "Bring the War Home." Have you heard of that?
No, I have not.
So it's about the militia movement and and paramilitary like white nationalist movements in the U.S. at large, going back to like post-Vietnam War era. And one of the things in that book that they talk about is how after so there was a string of like bank robberies and armored truck robberies carried out by these white nationalist militias who wanted to use that money to then like disperse it and fund their other groups around the country. And they got caught. They actually got charged for sedition. Yeah, if you look up, I think it was Louis Beam and some others were charged for sedition. It was one of the few usages of the Sedition Act. They got charged for sedition, and they had a bunch of raids on their compounds, and they got a lot of their weapons confiscated, and I mean like real military hardware shit. Like they had bazookas, like rocket launchers, and and heavy and like mounted heavy machine guns and shit got confiscated from these white nationalist militias back in the 90s, or maybe it was 80s.
Yeah.
It's fuzzy. Anyway, the point is they took all this shit from them. What they didn't take was their computers, because these people were aware of the power of the internet. Back in the 80s, these people were already on like Usenet boards and shit, and using that to discreetly disseminate their ideology. And so that's kind of like the origin of the 4chan, the ultimately the gaming radicalized, but like all of that online neo-Nazi shit really has roots in the fact that they never took the computers away from these fucking assholes.
Yeah, so it really all grew underneath the dark underbelly of the internet, and so this is how you got a lot of these new neo-Nazi white power movements and things like that. Yeah,
and that goes to why like anywhere you go on the internet, anytime anything contentious to those sorts of people gets mentioned, you have this swarm. Like, it's like why there's this huge brigading and why they like have all these people trying to like dox left-wing people or minorities and trans people and all that. Trans people especially get targeted heavily by these fuckers.
I've heard of like different like movements, like the incel movement, which for our viewers stands for involuntary celibate. And then you have MGTOW, which is men going their own way.
Yep. The broader MRA, men's rights activists.
Yeah, men's rights activists. Like, come on.
Oh God.
Come on, dude.
Men are so oppressed.
Look, we have been oppressed for the last like 10,000 years. So yeah, by women. Oh my gosh. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Really? Gosh. It's like it's like. And you know what's funny? And my my co-host Meg is going to be proud of me for saying this, but I do agree with this statement. men have also been a victim of our own patriarchy.
Oh,
We just have,
yeah.
And the fact that we're targeting our trans community, why? It's like, just because they're different from you, ultimately, it just goes to show that, you have some of these right-wing people who are born on the internet, like, for instance, like the Ben Shapiros and the Jordan Petersons and these other ones. I can't think of their names because I'm really not interested in them. But yeah, so they born on the internet and they use the online gaming community to spread this type of ideology, which is deeply unhealthy.
Oh, yeah, and I think like one of the things that pulled me out of like my weird like edgy, almost like libertarian and like not the cool kind phase was when I remembered like the rise of the term SJW, social justice warrior.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So that really gained steam around, again, 2014, 2015. This was like one of the things that I, in hindsight, feel like was definitely seeded by, outside agitators. And I thought back then, I was like, wow, like, how are you using the term social justice warrior as a negative? Like, fighting for social justice is a good, like, an unequivocally good thing. Like, you're the fucking baddie if you're using that as an insult.
It's like, let's break down social justice. If you're not for social justice, then
if you're against social justice, or
if you're against social justice, if you're against treating women equally, if you're against treating minorities and LGBTQ plus people unequally, then guess what? Now I do understand how some people can take it a little too far and be overly sensitive on certain things, which I completely get. But the crux, the center, the nucleus of that was to make sure that we have justice within, the social justice movement. Now, I don't usually get into a lot of the culture things. For me, it's more about the economics, and the economics will bleed into how we treat people in a cultural fashion. But we can walk and chew gum at the same time, so we can be more socially conscious with people while trying to do the same as getting equal, things for people as far as their material conditions.
Yeah, no, that's the whole thing. Like, with people talk about like class reductionism or identity politics. And it's like if you're on the extreme of either of those things, you're missing the point that you can't address either of those things without the other.
It's a balance. Yeah.
Yeah. For example, if we manage to overthrow capitalism right fucking now, if I could snap my fingers and end capitalism.
Please, if you had the Infinity Gauntlet, I would be so happy if you snapped your fingers and did that.
But that wouldn't solve racism on its own, for example.
No.
And also, conversely, I don't think you can try to address those issues of marginalized people being persecuted without also addressing like you said, the economics. That you can't. Again, they're so deeply intertwined that it is impossible to separate them. That intersectionality, right? That's what the term actually means.
Yes.
We have to, and same with imperialism. You can't be anti-imperialist without being anti-capitalist. You can't be anti-capitalist without being anti-imperialist. All of these things are intertwined.
You can't have Batman without Bruce Wayne. You just can't. Yeah.
Obligatory Batman is a fascist. Come on,
Okay.
he's a billionaire that beats the shit out of poor
That's true.
people.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a whole other tangent.
We'll save that for another time. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm ever back on here, we can talk about Batman's a fascist.
Actually, you know what? You can actually go on. They would actually talk about that on the FHL show Nerdolitics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
that would be something to talk about.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Is Batman a fascist? That would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's private. It's the intersection of government and private owner, like corporations.
Private ownership,
He's a billionaire
government,
who is
vigilante.
a billionaire who is all. Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot to unpack there, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're getting off track.
yeah.
But I mean, the larger point was that you were kind of being influenced by this. In the gaming community.
It was honestly like, and then it really took me like trying to examine some of those things. I can't even think of like specific examples, but there was a point where I really started to like try to unpack what these like, because I was also like into like the edgy new atheist shit. And we'll watch a lot of those, like evangelical getting owned videos. And I started to realize that like my YouTube algorithm was showing me some like very questionable things. And I think it was like looking for someone debunking Sam Harris. Sam Harris started to get like very like specifically Islamophobic. And it was through finding people critiquing and debunking those sorts of things that like I started to find like BreadTube, like I'm sure you've heard the term, right? Before that was even a thing, like I started to find some of those people, Sean and Three Arrows and H Bomber guy, and starting to seek out that sort of content to really like give like an obviously not like weird reactionary right-wing analysis of the same like subjects that were like starting to become popular in online discourse. And the further and further I delved into that content, I realized like, wow, the people that have the most honest and, in my opinion, correct analysis of these issues, turns out like a bunch of them are communists. And so that like pushed me into really like getting into explicitly like left politics, even though I was always kind of there, because like I talked about, my upbringing kind of always like sent me on that trajectory. I was sort of inoculated against becoming like an outright fascist. But I was guilty of making attack helicopter jokes and shit when I was a fucking teenager. I'm gonna admit that. Like I was not a great person for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we've all done things when we were young, and
it was learning about like, oh, hey, the people who have like a real grasp on the weird shit that's been happening, the shit that I like kind of noticed, like what the anti-SJW stuff when I was playing World of Warcraft, like things that I noticed were like clearly wrong, and the people that actually had an understanding of and like a thoughtful analysis of those issues again tended to be pretty far left, either anarchists, communists, what have you. And so from then on I started consuming more of that sort of content and started hearing references to Marx and Engels, Lenin and Mao and Kropotkin and all these people. And I thought, wow, this is like, these people sound like they were very insightful. I should probably engage with some of the like real philosophical underpinnings of, you know, what brought these people to these conclusions. And yeah, now here I am, and like I think the last like 3 or 4 books that I've read have been like dense, you know, political philosophical tomes, like read State and Revolution, and right now I'm reading Black Reconstruction. Next thing I'm gonna read, I think, is Caliban and the Witch. Have you heard of that?
No, I never heard of that one. I just let you know, I'm still somewhat new to the left space. Like, for instance, I was a democratic socialist back in this time last year? Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I just don't believe in capitalism anymore at all. And so I went straight socialist. So I see it as, you know, the focus on profits over people have done nothing but to cause pain, destruction, and death. Are humans perfect? And is any economic system perfect? Absolutely not. But there are much better ones that don't focus on the selfishness and the oppression of other people. And so this is one of the things that I've been looking at, and I've seen that, you know, there are systems where, you know, if you're a worker and if you have to say over what you do at work, then you're more likely, number one, to be a happier person at work. Number two, to get paid adequately for your work. And number three, the conditions and the atmosphere of your job tend to be better because you're now at a point where you have ownership part of it. And then you can also determine how things go by your vote. So basically, having democracy in the workplace, it's just like a duh thing, you know?
One of the first like real like academics, and not just people like taking down and dunking on like weirdo fucking Ben Shapiro and whatever, is Richard Wolff with Democracy at Work. Like,
Richard Wolff is wonderful, isn't he?
Yes, he's amazing.
Yeah, we actually, two of my FHL co-hosts, RJ and Jackie, and Sabrina, they all interviewed Dr. Richard Wolff as well.
Nice. I think I might have seen that because I've watched a lot of you guys' shows.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you guys are great. I forget there was one more thing that I was going to mention. It's escaping me. It was another.
You brought up Dr. Richard Wolff.
No, it was something else that I read that I was thinking was real relevant. And I'm just blanking on it. It's early for me. I usually don't. What time is it? Yeah, this is like usually when I'm waking up.
I got you.
I'm trying to remember.
Well, it's okay. You'll get back to it, but
oh well. Anyway, sometime later day I'll be like, oh damn, that's what it was.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'll be doing a little bit of light editing. I don't really edit these too much because pretty much 99.9% of everything that we say is relevant to whatever the subject is. So, yeah. But I just think that one of the things that kind of caught me off guard, but it didn't necessarily, it wasn't like a rude awakening. It was almost like a pleasant surprise, was I actually saw edgy lefties. So let me explain. Whenever I thought of lefties back then, I thought of the flower power children, very calm, very gentle. Oh, we can't say this, we can't do that. And that's how the perception of lefties has always been. Until one day I came on YouTube, okay? And there once was a little man named JB. And he came across some bread tube. And like one of the first people who I came across was Kyle Kalinske. And he can be very edgy in what he says. But from a left perspective, and I'm just like, what? I'm like, hold on. You can have single payer healthcare and continue and have healthcare for everyone without having to worry about not being able to pay your medical bills. And then you're always covered and there's no copays, no deductibles, no premiums. Or then he brings up something about ending the wars and he's edgy with it. And for me, that was just like a culture where I was just like, whoa. So you can't have a spine and be on the left. And that was crazy for me. It was just like, what?
Yeah. So after I got into a lot of those like leftist YouTube things, one night I was like, okay, I can recognize some of this bullshit that's being fed into my algorithm. And one night I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like go down my recommendation list, hit like to use the like whatever, do not show me this thing. And I did it like to so many channels. And then I put on something else and I fell asleep with it on autoplay. And I woke up the next morning, and I shit you not, it was I had never encountered them before, but a clip from Chapo Trap House was starting to play on my YouTube. Yeah, the autoplay would be Chapo Trap House.
Wow.
And I'm laying in bed and I'm hearing these people like just ripping on Hillary Clinton and Obama. And I was like,
anytime you can rip on Hillary Clinton,
do I need to like, yeah, well, no, but like I still is like learning here. And I'm listening to them and I'm like, man, they sound like what they're saying is right, and it doesn't sound like the normal like reactionary right wing like demonization of Hillary Clinton or Obama or the Democrats or whatever. Like they're making sense and they're fucking funny. And so I didn't get up. I just laid there and I listened to it, and like after a time, like I, because of the language that they were using, I was starting to realize, I was like, oh, these people are like to the left of these people, and there's a reason to actually despise these people that they're talking about. And I think that was like a tipping point for me where I was like, okay, like, it's both of these parties fucking suck, but not in the weird centrist libertarian way, like American libertarian way, where like, both parties suck, so we shouldn't do anything. It's like, no, both of these parties suck, so we should overthrow the government.
So, and you got to a point where you have, I like to put it this way, you find edgy people who are compassionate. Like people will say, there's no fucking way that anybody should be sleeping out on the streets and out there. And you'll have people who are on the right or libertarian say, well, they earned their money. It's like, well, they earned their money. No, they didn't earn their money. They exploited their money, and they should give the rest of it back. It's like, the fact that, for instance, you had two billionaires spend hundreds of millions of dollars just to go out into outer space, and you still have people sleeping out on the streets right now. Like, come on.
I forget who it was, the quote about it is illegal to sleep on the sidewalk. It is, the law treats everyone equal. It is illegal for both the rich and the poor to sleep on the sidewalk or to steal food. The law treats them equally, but like, of course, one person is being oppressed in this instance, the other person can just buy shit.